Hi there, how's it going? It's the Slayer here. So today I'm showing you how I steamrolled a lot of these New Game Plus 2 bosses in Dark Souls 3. So of course, after smashing Gundr, which I haven't shown here, I cheesed Dancer to get early access to Osiris and Champion Gundr, and now Osiris and Champion Gundr, I have put up separate clips of my fights there, and Champion Gundr was with a routine sword, not with the Greataxe, which is a theme of this video. So those two clips, I'll provide you links to those at the bottom of this video. So those were the ones I started with. I start my New Game Plus run with those bosses after getting early access to Lothric, and here, as you saw, we pretty easily bullied Crystal Sage, which was didn't even need any explanation at all. So the Darks, this Dragonslayer Greataxe is pretty powerful, and here we are on Deacons of the Deep. Now I actually fought these two after I fought the tree, that curse rotted greenwood, but that's a pretty routine fight that you don't really need to show. And even before I fought the curse rotted greenwood, I actually fought Dragonslayer Armour, but I wanted to, because I fought him pretty early, even before I beat Wart. But I wanted to show you these two fights, as these are two ones which I really thrashed the bosses, which shows you how overpowered the Dragonslayer Greataxe is, even in New Game Plus 2. So here I pretty much had a good time with Deacons of the Deep, and I took them out. So yep, that's pretty good. And this is New Game Plus 2 and Dragonslayer Greataxe, which you win after beating. And here we are, Dragonslayer Armour. Now this fight in New Game Plus 2 is the first time that I actually one-shot him, though last I one-shot him was in New Game Plus 1, but in the non-boss fight in the Ring City DLC. But this is the first time I one-shot him in the boss fight. But to be honest, this was one of my worst fights against him. I made a lot of mistakes, I took a lot of hits, I had some clunkiness issue with my non-gaming keyboard at that point of time, and I was a bit overconfident because I knew I was buffed enough to take him. So instead of playing properly here, I was kind of obsessed with trying to, spam the weapon art of this weapon, which is pretty strong. And once or twice I fell victim to his own weapon art. I'm like, damn, I should have avoided that because I do that all the time. So it was a bit clunky, but in the end, I guess I was buffed enough to take him. And what I liked is that even before I went to Undead Settlement, or even before I fought Wart, thanks to the Dancer cheese, I got early access to Lothric Castle and Dragon Barracks, which I cleared, and then I went and smashed Osiris and Champion Gundr, as you would see in my other videos, and then I got access to this guy. But of course, although beating this guy gives you access to the Grand Archives, until you beat the full Erithil and the Farron area, and until you've beaten Aldrich, you can't really enter the archives. But I want to see what happens if you beat him first. So this was a pretty interesting fight in the sense, here you see it's not really my best one, like my prior videos of my fight against this guy, which you would have seen, which I'll also share links with, have much better gameplay. But anyway, a one-shot is a one-shot. So New Game Plus 2, this was the first time I faced this guy, and I beat him, that guy. So it was messy, but yeah, it was good. So no repeats. That's pretty good. So that's Dragonslayer Armour. So I really like this area because Lothric Castle, getting early access to that is good, because it takes time to unlock Grand Archives, which is the best place to farm souls, and until you do that, Lothric is good. Now here we are against everyone's favorite Abyss Watchers, and these guys are pretty fast, but they're pretty low health, so I absolutely smashed them here with the weapon art of that Dragonslayer Greataxe. And there was a bit of a mess up in phase 2 because I needed to refill my FP with the Ashen Estus flask and setup. I tried tinkering with the weapon, so I got a bit delayed in that setup. Ideally, I should have been looking at what he was doing and dodging him, and after backing away, redoing that and then coming close to him. But I got a bit casual. I thought the first phase was so easy, let me do the setup, and he came pretty fast. But then I beat him pretty easily. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had one shot even phase 2 in New Game Plus 1, and here you are, the Dragonslayer Greataxe overpowered weapon art pretty much gets him. But yeah, so I guess that here, because by the time I've reached New Game Plus 2, I don't have an ultimate build, but I have a reasonably buffed build with 55 plus strength, 33 Dex 40, Endurance 42, Vitality, and that 30 Faith. So yeah, and here we are against Pontiff Suhlivan. This is the only guy for which I called an in-game summon, not a co-op player because that's almost like cheating, but I called an in-game summon because I wanted to use the Dragonslayer Greataxe on him, which is normally slow, because if I use a normal sword or a great sword against him, I can take him on my own. But the purpose of this video was to see how far you go with the Dragonslayer Greataxe in New Game Plus. So I just called Black Hand Gotthard, whom you can also call for the Abyss Watchers fight, to distract him so that I could hit him with the Dragonslayer Greataxe. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. Yeah, though I once nearly took him out with the Dragonslayer Greataxe on my own, but this is probably the only fight where you need some, for which this weapon would be a bit too slow. So at least the first part, at least the first phase. So I got, and yeah, you've got to watch out for his projectile weapon art of some sort. And yeah, so yeah, I just took it easy, just made sure that the guy didn't die. And normally you can call up to 2 or 3 summons for this fight, but that makes it too easy, even though it increases his health. So I just called 1 so that I could try this Dragonslayer Greataxe, and I didn't quite do the best job of it. I'm kind of recovering from some kind of an internal flu, as you see from my voice, so this is pretty much the only entertainment I have right now, but it worked. And then we came to a messy fight against Aldrich. So against Aldrich, I used the same strategy I used a few weeks back in normal and New Game Plus 1. When I fought him as when I provided co-op support to others to beat him, he was pretty easy. But when I play him, he sometimes spams, not only does those those arrows in the sky, but spams the laser after that just before you recover from running after it. And as you'll see here, sometimes he spams the laser 2 or 3 times in succession, and on the PC with the keyboard there is no way you can dodge that. So I actually use a shield. Previously I was using a great shield with a straight sword, but here, since I've got the dragon axe, I just use the level 7 Lothric shield. And although it gave me a knockdown, it significantly reduced the damage, which helped, because it may look like I'm playing badly, but I'm not, because on the PC you can't dodge that fast, in the sense that you barely finish recovering from that arrow and he's suddenly firing that projectile, particularly with the keyboard. So I had to, and here anyway it worked. So he's a pretty easy boss once you just manage that. So that was Aldrich. And then this is not a boss league. For Farron, and optionally dying in upon the 40 Abyss Watcher. Good fun. I started playing the game, it was some Dragonslayer out. So here it was really fun to smash the Dragonslayer Greataxe. Of course, the Dragonslayer Greataxe is not only inside the game, but because I was trying to finish bosses in a hurry, you've practically seen me do the weapon art, but it's got the same combat mechanics that any axe does, and it's even its basic moves are pretty strong, so I kind of enjoy that. And this is the fight against Ancient Wyvern in Archdragon Peak, and normally over here, as you'll see, you've got to rush up to a place from where you can jump onto his head, and once you jump onto his head, a downward jump attack, one attack is enough to kill him. A lot of people fight him on merit, but this guy does a lot more fire damage than other dragons. So we normally have the challenges to rush up to a point I'm rushing and then jump down on him. But today an unusual glitch happened, which you will see. He wasn't standing where he was supposed to, so then I had to use arrows on him, which was quite funny. So this is the crazy part where you rush through, and it's a good place for mining souls for later. So you've got to rush through this part to get up to a place where you can, basically climb up and then jump on the Ancient Wyvern. So yeah, it took me a couple of tries just to make sure I don't mess it up, but no, I normally do it quite well. So I think this time I'd maybe done it in one try, but yeah. So now you'll see something very interesting happen. Yeah. Okay, so now when I jump down here, the dragon is normally below there, so the moment you jump on his head and do one down attack, he's gone. But here, that guy didn't stay there. He kept on sitting in that corner next to where I left. So I had to use tons of arrows, and it took pretty long to kill this guy with basic arrows because I was saving my good ones. But then eventually I used some of the good ones and just knocked him out. So I haven't shown you the full clip here because it took very long. But yeah, I just eventually just cheesed him out with arrows, which is pretty weird. because normally he's standing under right where I am blowing fire, and you've got to wait till he stops and jump on his head. But yeah, anyway, got him. That was unique. Yep, and now here we are, the famous Nameless King fight. So last week or last to last week, I put up a clip of how I finally beat him for the first time on merit in New Game +1. Here it was New Game +2. Then again, today it wasn't as fluid and finessed as my New Game +1 fight, and maybe because he does a bit more damage in New Game +2, and today due to some positioning at times while I was close to him, I wasn't staying under his attacks, so I took a few more hits, but I was prepared for it because I knew his moves and his patterns. And phase 1 is pretty easy no matter what you play, and in phase 2, like here that thrust attack, there are 3 thrust attacks including that one, which have a window whereby you can punish and get away from him, and I normally punish that one which you saw, and the other one if he's close to being damaged. And if you see here, in order to try the weapon art, I missed going up and doing a critical hit, but that's fine, I recovered, and I used an Ember mid-fight. I didn't activate it in the beginning. That's what I do it against this guy. I found that's much more manageable, and yeah, I eventually got that. Today I even wasn't within range of, couldn't get out of range of his lightning strikes, but I don't know, maybe are they different in NG +2 or stronger, because in NG +1 I was out of them. But anyway, I beat him today as well. This was the first time I one-shot him, as in beat him at the first attempt. Like in New Game +1 was the first time I beat him, because in the base game I'd used summons, and in that it took me a few attempts and learning his patterns. But today, because I knew his patterns and because I knew I was buffed enough, I did make a few mistakes, but by and large I knew what to punish, so I just waited till those attacks were there and punished him, and then yeah, the Dragonslayer Greataxe did the rest. But yeah, I did make a few mistakes today, but I used up all of my Estuses, and I didn't go into this fight in Embered mode. He fights harder. I wait to see how well phase 2 goes and then activate the Ember. So I activated the Ember, and at one stage when I took some hits from a few mistakes like this one, I actually went back and used Divine Blessing, but here we beat him. Before the DLC, this was the toughest boss in game, so yeah, beat him. And then here we are back in Ashes of Ariandel, and the first fight is against like Vilhelm, which technically isn't a boss but is an NPC character, and he's pretty easy to smash with this Dragonslayer Greataxe. Yep, so easy to smash. And here is the majestic Friede. I just took a clip of the cutscene to show you how majestic she looks. And then here's the famous Sister Friede boss fight. Sorry about that. Yeah, I've got this new Tears of Denial thing that I learned in my second account when I restarted the base game. So I've incorporated it into this account as well. I sometimes use that instead of going in Embered mode to save my embers. And front up again, phase 1 with the Dragonslayer Greataxe is always easy, so we don't really need to worry about that. Yeah, and I messed up a bit on the teleport. I knew where she was coming, but I'm usually tanked up. Oh yeah, there she's. Oh yeah, I saw her, but I let her hit me. But yeah, I'm usually tanked up enough for phase 1, so I didn't really care. But yeah, here we go. We're just about to... I normally finish phase 1 of her much quicker, and it's like just a few seconds. But yeah, as it happens, whenever you're trying to film something, you do make it. But anyway, she's finished quite quickly. And this is phase 2 where, she tries to... get you with frost while Father Ariandel tries burning you and hitting you with that flail. So the quickest way is to get behind Father Ariandel and smash him. You can even attack Friede. She's a bit lesser passive, but she can still do some damage and be as tricky as she is in phase 1, although a bit lesser. But just watch out when she tries to heal both of them. She can recover their health. That's when you go for her or continue on Father Ariandel. Oh, like she's doing it here. I'm like, fuck no, no way. Yeah, so just gave her a bit. And then we get back to Father Ariandel and should be pretty routine. Okay, I did run around a bit to make sure because the actual fight is much faster on the PC than this video. So I was just trying to avoid her frost and make sure that I'm out of range of his fire. And yep. Oh yeah, I did take some hits from the flail, but that's okay. It's good to have plenty of Estus left for phase 2 and 3. Though you usually don't need much in phase 2, but as you see, I'm not fighting in Embered mode here. So yep, I'll just shortly finish him, and normally it's done a bit quicker, but yeah. Oh, that was a bad FP, as in a weapon art. I didn't quite get behind him. But yeah, this time I did, yeah, get behind him, and once you're in position to continuously slam, and there you go. Yep, Father Ariandel gone. Now, phase 3 was interesting. I kind of had it. But the good part about this fight is you win the Titanite slab that you're going to win after completing the boss after 2 phases, although there's a 3rd phase. So you naturally need to finish the 3rd phase to progress in this DLC and get the soul to transpose for weapons. But honestly, I don't think too much of the weapons outside of PFP, and even if you need your time to beat phase 3, you know that after beating the first 2 phases, which is easy, you at least get the Titanite slab, so you can take your time with phase 3 if you're struggling. And this should have been easy for me, but I made a few glitches that she has a 3 or 4 hit combo, but I haven't fought her for a while, so I kind of got stuck in trying to do the weapon art. But then when I fought again, you see this happened, that the game sometimes glitches or it freezes. In this second attempt, I was about to give her the killing blow when my game crashed to desktop. So I keep on talking about glitches, but here I actually have either like a technical bug or something, at least on video. I don't quite have the glitches I've seen on video, or perhaps like you could count that Wyvern thing, not necessarily a glitch, a remote thing, but here you saw that it kind of got stuck when I was just about to give her the killing blow. So then eventually I used the damn summon, because I said I'm not fighting this for the 3rd time, and I got this great summon, some warrior of Michelin or something, and we beat it pretty easy. And now here we are with Champion Gravetender and Gravetender Greatwolf. This is a pretty tough fight for somebody playing on keyboard like me, particularly because I'm not using a high-end gaming keyboard as they conk off pretty often. So with a routine keyboard, the wolf in this is pretty fast. But the good thing about the Ashes of Ariandel is while the bosses and NPCs do a lot of damage, they take a lot of damage as well. They have low health. So beating this guy, this Champion Gravetender, is pretty easy. And I found that even if you defeat the wolf early, it still comes here, and even if you can't kill him fast enough, as in you can't defeat him in a time frame before he calls the wolf, because even if you beat him, you know, the wolf will come even if he doesn't signal for it. And as you see here, the wolf is pretty quick. But what I found is that you save your Estus for this phase. In between his dashes and swipes, there is a move he does where he just stands right next to you and howls. That's when you can hit him, and he has pretty low health. So once he gets into phase 2, as you'll see, you can either go behind or hit him right in front before he activates in phase 2 is very vulnerable, and you can straight away kill him. Because the first time I beat him, as you would have seen in my prior video, I got him to phase 2 when he does this one. See here, when he stands next to you, you can get him to phase 2, and once he gets into phase 2 here, I pretty much killed him immediately. Don't let him stay active in phase 2, he'll be deadlier. But yeah, here I pretty much beat him. So you just basically got to save your Estus and dodge as far as you can, and if not, tank the hit. And then once he does that move where he's howling while standing next to you, hit him, he'll go to phase 2, and in phase 2 you smash him immediately. So that was my New Game Plus 2 run so far. I still have the Ringed City DLC bosses left, and I have those 2 weird princes, Lothric Lorian and Soul of Cinder left, and then yep, I'll be ready for New Game Plus 3. So what did you think of the Dragonslayer Greataxe? Did you like it? Yeah, I think it's pretty cool and whatnot. And I've got a separate clip as well where I've looked at what all boss souls I have and what I could transcribe them. I'll ask you for your view on that. So what did you think of this Dragonslayer Greataxe and how easily it can mow down bosses in New Game Plus 2. I have been told that straight swords are the best class, and as I move towards New Game 3 and higher, 3 to 7, I would need to shift to either a straight sword or to the Dex weapon, the Cell Sword Twin Blades or something like that, because otherwise the game would be too fast. But yeah, I'd see how I go, because I know that even for Gundr I use a sword. So yeah, that was me in New Game Plus 2 so far. Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, it should be interesting.